Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we'll be looking at the Marvel Legends Invincible Iron Man from the new Black Panther movie wave. And here's a quick look at him in the packaging. You're able to see the figure, all of the accessories that he comes with. You got the extra Tony Stark head in there. And then on the side of the box you get some nice looking artwork. And then on the back of the box you get a look at the figure itself, and then all the other figures that it takes to put together the Build-A-Figure. And as you know, I'm a fan of the collector-friendly packaging, so let's get right into the figure. So onto his articulation. His head is able to go side to side. It's on a ball joint, so you've got a little bit of tilt to it, but not much at all. It's on there pretty tight, so can't really get it to tilt around too much. But you can get it to look up a pretty good amount, as you can see there. Pretty much all the way up. And then you could get his head to look down. You got his chin into his chest there. And then he has the mid-torso joint that comes forward, only one click there, about that much, and then it comes back about that much, so that's a pretty good amount on the torso joint. And then he has a waist swivel, and then for his arms he doesn't have the butterfly shoulder joint, but on his shoulder it kind of, the cut right here is it's cut pretty far, so his arm can go kind of across, almost like a butterfly joint, but obviously not as much. But it can get pretty good to get his hand like right in front of him like that, as you could see. So that's pretty cool. I like when they do that. They did this similar kind of thing on the Bleeding Edge Iron Man, and I always thought that was cool. So that's pretty good. And then you have the regular ball joint functions, like, you know, his arms could go all the way around, they could come all the way out to the side. They come out about that much actually, and then it just stops. But then you have the upper bicep swivel, you have the double jointed elbows, and then you have a swivel at the wrist, but on his open hands there's no hinge, so they're kind of just stuck like that. I thought that's kind of strange that they did that. It's not a big deal, but I guess it would have been cooler if they didn't do that, but you know, it is what it is, because most likely you're going to be posing him like that with his repulsor blast going. But on the hand with the fist, it does have a hinge. There it is there. And then for his legs, they could come out to the side pretty good amount. Can't really go back that much, but that's okay. They can go forward a pretty good amount. Check that out there. If you want Iron Man to do some karate kicks, you know how people like that. And then you have the upper thigh swivel. You have the double jointed knees, and then at his feet you can tilt forward pretty much all the way like that. You can tilt up, and then you have the rocking side to side. There's no swivel there, but that's okay. I always like when they try to include a swivel somewhere. I know, you know, with an Iron Man figure they're probably not going to put the lower leg cut, which is okay, but I wish they'd figure out a way to get a swivel into here. But yeah, for the most part his articulation is pretty good. I like it for an Iron Man figure. You know, it's the basic Marvel Legends articulation, but you know, I like the way that they did the shoulders. I think that's really cool. A really nice way to do it if you can't get the butterfly joint in there. But yeah, check that out. It's pretty cool. I like that a lot. So, and for his accessories, he comes with a couple pairs of hands. First off, he has a pair of fists, and then he has a pair of repulsor blasting hands. And then he has these nice little blasting effects here. And then he comes with this little arm blaster deal. I'm not really sure if like this armor has like War Machine type of weapons that pop out of his arm or something, but I don't know. I thought this was kind of goofy to include, if it's not comic accurate. If it is, then cool, but if it's not, it's kind of strange. And you know, there's a little hole in there so that you could put the blaster effect in there too. And then he comes with two heads. He comes with the regular helmeted head, and then he comes with a really nice looking unmasked Tony Stark head. Now, of course, for some size comparisons, let's check them out next to a couple other figures, starting off with Marvel Legends Black Panther and Mafek's Homecoming Spider-Man. And then here he is alongside the Civil War War Machine from Marvel Legends and the Marvel Legends Iron Man from Civil War. I think it's Mark 46. And then here he is next to Marvel Legends Captain America from the Red Onslaught Wave and the Marvel Legends Black Panther. Here he is alongside the Marvel Legends Ultimate Spider-Man and Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man. And then here he is next to DC Icons Flash and DC Icons Green Lantern. And then here's a look at him next to a couple other Hasbro Iron Man figures. And with the Hasbro Iron Man figures, it was always really disappointing because they'd always look really good and they looked really promising, but then there was always something like a big negative with them. Like for instance, this one here on the very left is the modular Iron Man from a couple years back. I think it was from like the Epic Heroes wave or some wave that didn't have a Build-A-Figure. And it looked really cool, but then it didn't have any ankle rockers, so it was really hard to get him to stand. And then for the Extremis Iron Man that a lot of people were really excited about, the same thing. He didn't have any ankle rockers, so he's kind of hard to stand, and he was small. So people were disappointed with that. And then over here we have this classic Iron Man. This was a re-release that came out with the Ironmonger wave. But even with the original one that was in the two-pack wave from a couple years back, a lot of people liked it. But then, you know, his torso was really small, and then he didn't have any ankle rockers, so it was hard to get him to stand up. But all these figures looked really cool, but there was just something disappointing about him. With this new Invincible Iron Man, there's no huge like disappointments. I mean, I think he's like the right size for Iron Man, for Tony Stark in a suit of armor. He has really good working articulation, so I think this is probably one of the best Hasbro Iron Man figures out there. But just for me, I'm just not a huge fan of this armor. I'm not too caught up on, you know, modern Marvel comics, but this armor looks cool and stuff like that. But yeah, I think this is like one of the best, the most well executed Iron Man figure from Hasbro all the way around. I mean, I like the way the Extremis looks better, but you know, it's just smaller and the ankles don't work. But you know, just all around execution, I think they really did a good job on this Invincible Iron Man. And just in case anyone's curious, this Tony Stark head does fit on the classic Iron Man's body, but it's a little too big, but it can go right onto the ball joint. And then it can sit on the modular Iron Man armor, but the ball joint is way too small, so it kind of just hangs out there. And here's the Tony Stark head on the Chameleon body. And it's a little bit big, but I think it works fine. I think people get away with that. From some angles it looks perfect, but from some other angles it looks like it's a little bit oversized. And one thing about it though is it was really tight getting it on the ball joint, so be careful not to like break that. But yeah, I mean, you could get it on there and it looks okay. It could look, I mean, if it was just a little bit smaller it'd be perfect, but I think it looks pretty cool. Check that out. That looks dope. Hopefully they put out a Tony Stark like this that we could all buy. I think there was one that came with like a subscription service or something, like probably Marvel Unlimited or something like that. But yeah, hopefully they do put out a Tony Stark that people could just go buy, because that would be really cool. Now let's take a closer look at the details on this. I think they did a really good job for the most part. There's nothing on the figure that stands out as ugly to me. I do have a couple paint flaws on mine. On the shoulder you can see there's some like silver gray stuff there right there in the back, and then even in here somewhere, and then even right here I got a little bit of gold on the red, but you know, nothing too sloppy. I'd say the paint is pretty good for the most part, and the sculpt is nice too. It has everything, you know, you got some sculpted details here on the feet and stuff like that. It's pretty much just a nice sleek looking Iron Man armor. Like I said before, I don't read too many Marvel comics these days, so I'm not really sure what's up with this armor. I think he had this armor when he went to Vegas or something, or he came back from being evil or something like that. I don't know, but it's pretty cool. Like, it does have like a classic feel to it. Other than the helmet, it feels really classic, but it looks nice and new and stuff like that. It doesn't look outdated or anything like that. It looks like it's like a little bit influenced by the movie, especially like in the arms, how they're a little bit more squared off. But yeah, for the most part it looks really good. You got some sculpted details here on the torso. You got this here that's just painted blue. I wish they had a way to make that look more reflective and like a light, because right now it just looks painted blue, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. It still looks pretty good. And back here on the back you got some nice sculpted details. And yeah, this face, his helmet kind of looks strange. Not the figure, but the design. But as far as I know, this is pretty accurate to how it looks in the comic book, so no big complaints. If you're a fan of this armor, you're going to be very happy with the sculpt on this guy. So overall, I'm really happy with this figure. I think they did a really nice job. Like I said before, I'm not really familiar with the modern Iron Man story, so I'm not really sure what's up with this armor, if there's anything, you know, really special about it or whatever. But I will say that this figure does seem to be like a really accurate representation of that armor from what I've seen, you know, just like in promotional pictures or, you know, just in the comic book store or whatever. Yeah, I think that they did a really good job at capturing what they were trying to go for. So, you know, that's a win in my book, and I'm sure that fans of the modern Iron Man stuff will be happy to have this. And it's cool that they're putting out so many modern figures so that you could kind of build a universe of the modern stuff. You know, you got the Miles Morales, you got the Miss Marvel, you have the the Falcon, Captain America, a bunch of modern things that will look really cool displayed all together. So I'm very happy about that for collectors that are interested in that. And yeah, just overall in general, just from like a action figure perspective, he's a really fun Iron Man figure. He's definitely one of the best that Hasbro's ever done. And I really wish that they'd go back and make some of the other armors that they kind of dropped the ball on in the past. Like, I'd love them to retry to make, to try to redo the Extremis Iron Man. I think that'd be awesome. Who knows if they'll do it though, but I think it'd be great if they did it again, made him a little bit bigger, and you know, just made him an overall better figure like this one here, because yeah, I think this Invincible Iron Man's really one of the best ones they've done, so I'm very happy with it. And just so you know, you don't need to buy this to build a Build-A-Figure for this wave. It doesn't come with a Build-A-Figure piece, so for those people that get all pissed off every time that they make a new Iron Man or Captain America or Spider-Man or whatever, you don't have to buy this to build a Build-A-Figure. So that's a positive potentially for some people. But yeah, anyways, thank you very much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and thank you very much. Peace.